Monday, July 4th, 2022. Yesterday my father sent me a WhatsApp in which he warned me that Guzman, former Minister of Economy, had resigned and that Batakis would take over, a woman in his place. I told my father, but you don't tell me anything about who is going to replace Cristina, Kirchner, and Alberto Fernandez. We told our friends Farah and Casas that since July 10, 2014 we have installed a new process in Argentina. It is called Libertad, the one with the little dove, Libertad. The new process in Argentina is called Libertad, and that is what we are working for. And how we are working to free Argentina from all the corrupt, the demagogues, and the useless that are all those who are there. What do you see on TV every day? The entire congressional payroll, much of the judicial power payroll, and the entire executive power payroll since 2005. So we tell them that we are in the liberation of Argentina. First I'm going to free myself and then the rest. We told the public that as soon as I went out on the street that July 4th morning, the government and Biden, C.I.A., hit hard. They started with the entire arsenal on the field. Do you watch football games where one team attacks and another defends? And then they switch roles? They attack, so let's count their attack. I walked to Los Polvorines, which is approximately 30 blocks away. They placed a police patrol car 2 blocks from Darreguerra and Vélez Sarsfield with its lights on and turning so that he could see it from afar, in the corner of a primary school. They bet on the anger method. Anger is an example the productions, Locos por Ira de Adam, Sandler or Homeland, extortion so that you get into trouble that later you cannot defend, a method of psychological torture, with reduction or relaxation of harassment. While he was walking, he passed a car that said North Route and on the corner crossing the street to that direction a gray Mercedes-Benz van model, Vito, right on the corner of the block from the children's playground, attached to the school. I left my house in Vélez Sarsfield, on my way to the corner and turned right on Darreguerra to the Polvorines. At the beginning there are 5 straight blocks. I completed 1 block through Darreguerra and in 100 meters they completed all the messages. The first one they completed was the gray Mercedes-Benz van, as if to say go to the north of Greater Buenos Aires and we'll pick you up. Why didn't they pick me up there? Since they are so cool. Irony, the bad vibes are for you. Upon reaching the first corner, the police patrol car arrives behind a gray Renault 9, identical to the one Marcos, Annabella's father, had. So when the patrol car gets up to my height I make the sign that with that, the gray Renault 9, they are going to be arrested, and with the wrists of my hand together as signs. I beat them with that, they're going to jail. Do you think that the police stopped me in the street? So I kept walking, I turned the curve of the same street. They with the same stupid messages with the car models, license plates and colors. They wanted me to believe that while I was going to Polvorines, they would come to my house to leave me with the judicial requisition of Annabella's fabricated pedophilia case and that I should not carry out my tasks and go to the northern zone. As we told you, Annabella's father named Marcos had an identical gray Renault 9. These are the codes of the patrol car that was the A549XW or HA, United States of America. 549. I am 49 years old and X. 10 points and H means mute that goes to the northern zone. I keep walking about 15 blocks before the Polvorines police station and degree 2 the same patrol car comes back as if to say, don't keep going, you're in jail. Then I arrived at the police station and the patrol car was parked behind a truck of detainees. The license plate, A723BL. The same codes, 723, the 3 brothers and BL. B is my Europe. Team, A, United States, it means I was free. Free Gustav. If the Constitution says so, I don't have to go to B or A to know that I am free. And it seems to me that when I came out of my mother's uterus, I passed through her vagina and the doctor grabbed me, the doctor, as he touched Argentine soil. I touched Argentine soil with him. A great step for humanity. I think I even brought a flag. I took a flag out of my mother's womb. If it was the same one that Cristina uses, we are not going to change the flag because the flag is a national symbol, and it's not Cristina's. Manuel Belgrano invented it and it's not Cristina's. We're not going to change the flag, so stay calm, Argentines. But the idea everywhere by the police and the government is to mistreat me to make me angry. Then, they made 2 lines of people for the customer service window and the doorman directed me to the second row. But there were 2 gentlemen at a table and I went to ask at that table. When he placed me in front of the service window, first the doorman entered the service office for me to see him, and then Dr. Baranda appeared and stood up, who supervises and prescribes the remedies for my case in a private clinic. When my mother turned to Dr. Baranda for this procedure to be carried out in this hospital, the same doctor told my mother that they should have given her a form to fill out, and I thought she had 2 weeks to ask Carrillo that I gave her the sheet. And it had been that Dr. Baranda works at the Carrillo Hospital as well. Obviously, I knew that he worked at the Carrillo Hospital. He stood there in my sight to extort me, to make me angry and afraid. He said so that I would listen. That the psychiatry shift was at 1 p.m. I did not go to see him and I am not treated at that hospital, as if to say we are going to force you to come to psychiatry. They told me, indirectly, you have to go to inside. I replied that I did not endorse the treatment, nor my illegitimate deprivation of liberty. My case was reported in Federal Justice plus CD 4707-2037-06 to the P.E.N. of 2014. In addition, they extorted with my old lady too. The method is anger and relaxation of the anger. So they would say, your mom knows that everything is fine. They always have the same thing, the idiotic extortion that relaxes the anger and the striking sound that puts pressure on it. CPD. The anger and the subsequent relaxation of the harassment is a psychological method of torture whose foundation is the repression of something that is hidden. In this case it is only the recovery of the extortionist's own teaching for 12 years, a fraud. They created the Annabella case and they argued that they wanted to know what happened when Annabella's parents knew that it was an invention of the government and the S.I.D.E, and we also know about the C.I.A. Repression. There's a song, Repression, by the Rapists, I think. And who are the rapists? You. What a pity. What a pity. It's a shame. On the way back I come walking from Polverine in Daraguera and almost Vélez Sarsfield. They put a small utility van with a loudspeaker, patent JGZ 161. J. It means don't say anything. D. Gustavo and C. With the striking sound, another C.I.A. invention. L161 is bus 161 that goes from Plaza Italia to San Martin and has a branch through La Frida and Constituyentes Street, which is 5 blocks from Annabella's house. The van and its broadcast repeated through the loudspeaker, fit, 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 fit. Yes, tell Cristina and Alberto that we can go to Comodoro Py federal courts where the government is denounced and file more complaints against them and Dr. Baranda with all those 4 prescriptions in which he did not comply with the P.E.N. protocol that is protected by national law. We are sure that they are going to fit or enter and astonish more complaints to their credit and on their desk to the federal judges. We are very safe. Do you know what U.F.I. is? She is a character from the Spanish Netflix series, Intimacy, that I saw in those days. We warn the public not to feel any strange emotion with my laugh because it is an exaggerated and fake laugh. I enjoy it so much that we explain it to the public so they don't suffer. Do you think that I will say to the public to return to the box office and I return $1, give him back $1 and we suggest that they buy a hot dog and a Coke? With that $1 they wanted him to live for 25 years. And I beat them, by all rights. I hope P.B.A. CTD, the prison. This started in 1997 approximately, after I had a collision with my motorcycle to an old man when I came from my work in Don Torquato to my house in the town of Caseros 3 de Febrero. The old man was leaving his son's hardware store and, as you know, the police sell security to merchants. Important. The Quiroga family has members my age who committed crimes and served sentences for drug trafficking, robbery and kidnapping for ransom. The police were looking for the parallel identity to cover up the crimes of corrupt police officers with criminals partners in crime. They sought to generate a marginal person because they defamed me to undermine my jobs and the trust of my friends, couples, family members and coworkers and students. As of 2004 I returned to the University of Moron to study journalism. The first day they made it clear that they would persecute me all year, I had a teacher from the newspaper La Nación and another from the newspaper Clarín. No teacher was oblivious to what was happening. In the second semester they wanted to cause an incident with an advertising teacher to accompany her alone to the elevator to generate an extortion on the 26-year-old woman. It didn't happen. I went down the stairs going down 8 floors. In 2005, fed up because I was looking for a job and they interfered with my interviews, they chased me and harassed me on the street. I denounced them at U.F.I number 11 in San Martin. At the moment of declaring, they interfered with my relatives, and they admitted me to the Febrero hospital as a government plan. The only option was and is to annihilate the witness. They sought to give me labor action as a chemical technician at Papel's P.M., whose shareholder is the owner of Néstor. Between 2006 and 2010 as a control plan of the C.I.A., Néstor Kirchner and the owners of Clarin and the Nation. C.T.D.I. beginning studied at the University of La Matanza, law, working in P.M. Being a lawyer, I could claim the intelligence files and sue him. The CIA uses me as a bunny to annihilate journalists, due to the leak of abuse files from the Pentagon, the CIA, etc. Such as Assange and Snowden cases. As I am a chemical technician, the hook was drug trafficking, and then they transferred me to the international arena through Washington. They needed a man trained in journalism to intimidate journalists. They handed over my rights and sovereignty to the CIA. The exchange for impunity of the Argentine government for the attacks on the Israeli embassy in the AMIA plus the death of Nisman. I was used to generate a serial criminal at the pleasure of the CIA. In approximately 2007, they came up with a case of pedophilia with my cousin Annabella. Cousin that I don't even know, and that there is a video on YouTube where she is asked, yes, one of the minors was raped. The CIA seeks to hide the use of a fraudulent technological method. It is a very simple fake lie detector for men and women, to twist my decision to take him to trial. In 2009, I got together with an adult woman with 2 children. The plan of pedophilia was truncated. They defamed me with my wife Lorena and my work to isolate myself and annihilate the not content with discovering and presenting documents in court of all the relatives involved in his defamation. The CIA continued with its plan to classify me as a universal pedophile. Question: that I discussed universally with my practical method using knowledge of Freud and psychology. This is the pattern that they repeated every time I go out from 2010 until now. The lying offer to get me out of the country due to the risk of a pedophilia case. Impossible with the 23 complaint. Argentina lost jurisdiction over criminal charges against me. It is a pattern to annihilate myself, as in the Homeland series, that I get into problems that I cannot justify to others, and that he ends up murdered, or imprisoned, or in a psychiatric hospital for life. Every Thursday I denounce them in the Courts of Comodo Py, successively of the constant extortions and fed up of the government and the Argentine media, mainly Clarin and La Nación. I denounced both in file 379014, JF number 4 court number 10 of Ercolini, and I sent him a letter. Document 47,072,03706 to the National Executive Power, P.E.N, to its seat of government Balcarce 50 Federal Capital, notifying you that the P.E.N in Comodo Py and that an end to crimes. The best idea that Cristina Kirchner had was to make a plan with the CIA to intern me again. After a year of having received the CD, they forced my internment in the third quarter of 2015 with an incompetent provincial judge. By the public force, they subjected me to a treatment that I denounced in document 6711-15 in Federal Court number 4 of Ariel Legio. At the beginning I count as the doctor of the private clinic in the public hospital. With the state they seek that by coercion I enter voluntarily, for the constant harassment of the police. In 24 hours in the CIA. My case meets the requirements for the International Criminal Court in The Hague as a state crime against humanity because it meets at least 3 requirements, and annihilation. I have the support of the European Union, of France, which would give me citizenship to protect me from the abuses of the USA, the United Kingdom, UK, which has in its possession the files of the former S.I.D.E. where my innocence is proven. As the ties of the former S.I.D.E. with the CIA are true, as Moreno Ocampo tells in the documentary, Nisman, the prosecutor, the president and the spy. The spy who obtained the files was a British-American double spy. The end.